Oh, I'm a sea pilot with the Port Phillip Sea Pilots, and my job is to ensure or navigate safely ships in and out of Melbourne and Port St Geelong. It's a 24-hour-a-day service that we run, so we bring ships in and out of Melbourne 7 days a week, 365 days a year. There's 34 pilots in Melbourne, and we're one of the biggest pilot services in Australia. It's Melbourne and Geelong. Certainly Melbourne is the busiest port in Australia as far as ship numbers go. There's other ports that handle greater quantities of cargo, but we actually have more ship visits. So as a result, we've got the largest number of pilots anywhere in Australia. Pilots all start as either cadets or just as general seamen. Then you work your way up through the ranks, becoming an officer on a ship. Ultimately, you'll become a master on a ship, and the Port Phillip Sea Pilots require at least 12 months command time before you become a sea pilot. And that process can take normally 15 years, sometimes 20 years. So all our pilots start at around the age of 35 to 40.
Okay.
Port Phillip Heads is widely recognised as one of the most treacherous entrances in the world as a port entrance. We've got very strong currents, extreme currents, and currents up to 7 knots at times, and these really push a ship around, and the current's not in a steady direction. It crosses in 2 directions across the channel. So yeah, it's a very hazardous entrance. There's rock on either side, it's very shallow, and of course Bass Strait is a famous piece of water for being very rough, and we have some pretty wild nights to try and get in and out on ships and also in our pilot launch. We try to board ships in just about any weather, but safety first, and there are occasions when it is simply too rough to take the launch out and too rough to get on board. As pilot launch calls the ship up, the coxswain calls them up, and he gets the ship to turn in such a fashion that provides what we call a lee, which means the wind's on one side of the ship, so on the side that we're going to board on, it's nice and calm. So that's how we control that environment. But sometimes the swells are so huge that the ship's rolling too heavily, it's just too dangerous. A, to get the launch out through the heads, and B, to get the pilot up the ladder.